Welcome to The Path. I'm Nick Robinson.
And I'm Elena Robinson.
Elena, we are entering October. In fact, as we record this, it is October 1st.
It's the best month of the year.
It is for a couple reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Typically good weather.
Yeah, although I don't know if I would say this weather that we're experiencing right now is good.
Doesn't feel like September.
October.
Yes, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like August.
Yes.
Maybe a little less humid, though.
Yeah.
One of my kids was born in this month.
Mm-hmm.
Fall break falls in this month.
Yes.
Halloween's in this month.
Yeah.
And that's about it, right?
Yes.
Also, your birthday's in this month.
Yeah.
And you're turning, and we are so excited for it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, October also often in church world and church life is stewardship month.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, we talk about it. Stewardship encompasses so much of our life.
Yeah.
So many of our time, our presence, our witness, our gifts, our graces, even just our attitude to life. Stewardship incorporates all of those kinds of things. But come October, we're often talking about stewardship in terms of money.
Yeah.
We collect pledge cards and we want to know, hey, can we make next year's budget? What kind of financial resources is the church going to have in the next year to do the work that God needs wants us, we feel like God is calling us to do?
Mm-hmm.
And at Asbury, there'll be no exception to that rule. We'll be talking about money some. And I want to talk about tithing first. We're not going to have a sermon specifically on tithing this year.
Okay.
But I do want to talk about tithing. So we have tithed to the church ever since we got married.
Yeah.
And I have tithed ever since I became a pastor. So ever since I got my first job, my first real job. I guess I was a part-time pastor, so maybe it was still half of a real job. I was a part-time pastor and I was being a chaplain intern as well. I was making $28,000 a year, and this wasn't that long ago. It was 15 years ago, so $28,000 was not a lot of money. It was more than it is now.
Correct.
But it wasn't a lot of money. But I had a parsonage. I did not have any benefits. I did not have health insurance. I did not have a retirement account to contribute to. I did have, I think, 2 weeks of vacation at the time. Yeah. And I'm not sure I used, and I think I used both of my Sundays, but I used them for work, not for to work somewhere else, not for fun. I was, a single. I didn't have anyone to go on vacation with. It is what it is. Back when I was making $28,000 a year, I was tithing $2,800 to the church. And when we got married, we decided that's what we were going to do. We're going to tithe off the top line of our income. And I'm curious for you, so I just think as a pastor, I think it's expected of me to tithe. Not only do I think it's the right thing, but if I want to set the example for my church, if I want to encourage other people to do it and teach that it is a good and healthy practice, spiritual practice even, then I should be doing it myself.
Yeah.
You were not a pastor when you got married to me.
Nope.
You're still not a pastor.
Correct.
You have not been to seminary or ordained, ever licensed in any capacity in the church.
Definitely not.
What was it like to you when you were trying to make that decision? Are we going to tithe? Because you could have put up a fight. Oh, I'm not doing it. Or you can tithe on you could have said anything you wanted.
Yeah. I think so. I grew up going to church, stopped like in middle school, high school, college, didn't really go. After I moved back to Fort Wayne, I started attending, and tithing was something that I was thinking about. It wasn't something that I was like, I don't like, what is this? How does it fit in my life? What is this all about? How do I make this work? Then like when we started dating and stuff, and I think it was when we were engaged, you had led a class, money class. And
Led/learned from it at the same time. It was a Dave Ramsey class.
Yes, which was super helpful, I think, for us to have communication about money. But I just remember specifically like Dave Ramsey talking about like, it's so great that now I can use this money after going through the steps that he lists out. Like, now I get to give that back and do good with it. And I think that really stuck with me. Honestly, that might be the one thing that stuck with me the most from his class of like, that's financial security, I guess, like that goal, that end goal. And money is so complicated in general. And I know that I don't know, we're fortunate enough that we can do that. And I know it doesn't always work for everybody.
Yeah, when we first started tithing, we had student loan debt.
Yeah.
That was close to the total. It was a little bit less than our combined salaries at the time.
Yeah.
We had a mortgage.
Yes.
It was a pretty affordable mortgage because you had shopped really wisely before you married me. And then you shopped really wisely when you chose me as well, of course.
Yes.
And so we had debts. We had reasonable debts. We weren't carrying credit card debt. Like if someone came to me and said, Pastor Nick, I have $20,000 of credit card debt. What should I do? I was like, well, pay that off first.
Right.
Like if you've got 23% interest on your credit card, let's get it taken care of. And let's figure out how not to be in that place again. Because you rightly connected here in the ability to tithe. Part of it is how are we managing our money?
Correct.
And there's a lot of things tied up in that. Part of it is what kind of decisions have we made in the past that are still affecting us financially? Because we also got married, and I don't think we had a car loan.
No. We just paid off our first car loan.
Yeah. We took out a car loan 4 years ago.
4 years ago. That's the first car loan that we've ever had. Either of us.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Yeah. And we tried to be smart with that car loan. Not $1,000 a month car loan.
Yeah.
But if one of the steps to being able to tithe and do it generously and freely without having a lot of weight on us is how are we managing the rest of our finances? Are we being wise? Are we living within our means? Are we kind of controlling our consumption rate? Like the things that we want. And I always tell people that you are naturally a frugal person. Like I have to work at it. Like I want to start a new hobby and I want to spend $5,000 on my new hobby.
Coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little less than $5,000, but I spent, and I got most of that money back because I sold my coffee roaster. But yeah, but like, I like spending money. When I was a kid, I spent my money. My younger brother saved his money. But to be able to be in the place of tithing, it's a whole kind of life commitment. What have you learned anything from tithing?
I learned that I can get by with what we do have. After we tithe, and I think we're fortunate where we have made that a priority, and I think it's been easy for us to make that a priority. Like we took this class before we were married. We got to have these conversations. I mean, we didn't have car payments. I mean, our parents have helped us out with that. Like we were, I think it was like the perfect time where we were able to to figure that out and make a good first step and really commit to it. It is a process. Yeah. And, I don't know.
Well, and we're comfortable with not driving brand new cars. We're comfortable with my hair looking like you cut it because you did. You buy almost all of your clothes at Goodwill or Sans Souci. And we're in a financial place where we would not have to do that.
No.
But it still feels right to us to do that, to be frugal in those ways.
I feel like we've talked about this sign in our house a couple of times, but live simply, and we've had it, and gosh, that's what we always come back to. And we even have conversations of like, well, what does it really mean to live simply? Does that mean spending extra money because it then requires less effort? Like where do we need the simple to be? It doesn't always mean we're not going to go without. And sometimes it does mean that, but I think that's really been a driving force for a lot of our financial conversations.
Yeah. Yeah. How can we not add, because sometimes spending money adds burden to your life.
Correct.
It's more things to maintain, or you get used to it. So it's a new standard to maintain in your life, or, you got a nicer car, your insurance costs more.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, we used to be pre-kids we would spend a lot of time sitting down and having like
Yeah.
monthly budget meetings, and we've really don't do that anymore.
Now,
Life
sometimes
is
we say we're
hectic,
going to, but we just
and
don't
it
get
doesn't.
to.
Yeah. And quite honest, I mean, we know where our shortcomings are with that, like going out to eat. And, you know, we're always disappointed after going out to eat, and it's so much more expensive, but it's just like that habit. And so just, I think it helps you reflect on where you really, like, what is really important to you? Where do you really want your money going?
Yeah, when you're saying, okay, I'm going to live on 90% instead of 100% or 110% of my income, you start automatically looking at what can I cut and maybe not even feel any pain. Like, where am I wasting money? And like, so living below your means helps you to immediately start discerning and practicing some wisdom around your finances, I think.
Yeah.
For me, it taught me, you know, that I can live on 90%. And you know what? If I can live on 90%, there's a chance I could live on 80%. And if I can live on 80%, there's a chance I could live on 70%. Now, a lot of that's going to depend on how much money you make and the standard of living you're trying to maintain.
Correct.
That's going to be relative for a lot of people, but it sent my mind down that path. And if I'm not spending all of my money, what else can I do with it? Are there other places I can practice generosity? Are there certain kinds of expenses I can save up for? Can I have an emergency fund? So if the world falls apart around me, I have some resources to draw on for that. So you start, for me, when I went from spending all of my money to trying to give 10% and also then start reflecting on it, it just opened up my eyes to just the possibilities of finances. So this Sunday, we're not talking specifically about tithing, but we're talking about something that I think does dovetail with tithing.
Okay.
Because we're talking about giving God our best. And so to me, for tithing to work, you often need to sit down, make your budget, and give God 10% from the beginning. Or you're not, if you try to get the 10% out of whatever's left over, it's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So what for you, is there anything that comes to mind when you hear give God your best?
I think, for me personally, I think that looks like acknowledging when I maybe haven't given my best. And for me, just because of the type of person that I am, and I don't mean that in like, I'm going to be hard on myself, but acknowledging where I can do better. Kind of like you were talking about with the money. Like you do a little bit and you're like, oh, but can I do a little bit more? Can I do a little bit more? Like your best is changing from day to day. And your best one day might be less than tomorrow's best. And just checking in and with yourself and giving your best, but also seeing what you have to give, I guess, on that day, which I think does tie in a lot, parallels with money and tithing.
It automatically takes me back to junior year of high school, senior year of high school, I think. I took economics class with Mr. Berger. I love economics. Yeah. I took it again in college. I thought about majoring in it.
I was going to say, one of us really loved our budget meetings.
Yes.
And you all that are listening can guess who that one person was.
You didn't need a budget because you just don't want to spend money.
I know. That's my strategy.
But we talked about, you can't give everything in your life 100%. Like you can't give your absolute best to everything. Eventually you're going to have to rob Peter to pay Paul. Like you can't just be everything to everyone. Paul in the Bible actually, talks about becoming all things to everyone. I think about it in a different kind of context. He's trying to reach someone in front of him. So he's willing to not compromise who he is, but present the gospel in a way that's understandable to them.
Yeah.
And try to keep him from being a barrier in that conversation, his own identity. But if you're in college and you're taking a bunch of really hard classes, you may have 2 tests one day and you may have to choose which one you're going to study for. If you have a family and a job, you may have to figure out what costs different people can bear. I go to a lot of evening meetings. That means my family pays a little bit of a price. Where can I try to contribute in a different way to my family to make up for that? But if all I did was church all the time and never saw my family, like maybe I would be even a better pastor. Maybe I'd help 10 times as many people. Maybe, who knows what would happen, but my family would suffer. And so there is this balance that is needed, and this, we just can't do everything. I was talking to a young person just yesterday, and they were telling me all of the activities they're in. Like, oh, but I can't do that one. I'm like, yep, we just can't do everything, can we? We can't, even the good things. We just can't do everything that we want to do. And I think about people who are retired now or snowbirds. Like, can you give your best to Columbus and your best to Florida? And like, what does that look like for you? How do you navigate? Like, I don't have wisdom for that, but I imagine someone else needing to think about that. Like, when you have grandkids and you want to be at all of their events and they may live close or far away, like what are you giving up to try to do that? What are the meaningful ways you can show up in your kids or your grandkids' life? Whether it's on the sideline or being involved in some other way. Yeah. There's all these things to kind of calculate out in our time and energies.
Well, and that's why I think it's important. Stewardship is not just money, right? Because
absolutely.
You might not be able to give money, but there are other ways that you can give and support and be a part of the church. It's not just money. It is one of the things you can do. And it is, money does and can go a long way. That's how the world works. Our girls were just asking the other day, like, well, what if there wasn't any money in the world? And we were like, well, what would that look like? And it was a good conversation that we had, but it is not the end all be all either.
Well, and at the same time, I think giving just money is not usually enough either.
Correct.
Like if you have a very high paying job, but it takes you away from your family all of the time and you never see them, I don't think that's always a trade-off that your family would choose to make. Like just because you can give money to your family doesn't mean they don't also need something else from you.
Right.
And that's the same for church. That's the same for our communities. Like, I really believe that Christians should be huge contributors in their community. There's always this balance. So how much do we invest in church versus how much do we invest in ourselves around us? And different denominations or faith groups have come to different conclusions.
Yeah.
Right. We're either entirely insular and we are building this little community that's for us, and maybe it's a big community, but it's just for the people who are in the inside, and we exist for the people on the inside. And then there are the other extreme is like all of our work is to give ourselves away to the community, period. Like, we're always giving ourselves away. And so we have that balance to figure out.
Yeah. And it's not just, it's a personal balance, and definitely one that should be considered with lots of like prayer and thoughts and conversations.
Yeah. You can always talk to your pastor about it.
Yeah.
I know a guy.
You do?
I do. He'd be glad if someone was wrestling with these kind of conversations to talk to them about it.
Because you love finances.
Well, and not even about finances, about anything in life, balance and figuring out what to say yes and no to, and helping people come to that conclusion. Not me telling them what to do, but making those choices for themselves.
And helping them process through it.
Because the choice that we make today isn't the choice we have to make tomorrow either. Yeah. There are seasons. There's one more thing I want to say. We're getting close to 20 minutes about God, or about giving our best to God, is sometimes if we don't give our best, we don't give anything. I think of people coming home from work at the end of the day and they are exhausted.
Yes.
And they just don't have anything left to give. Because they're not only their best, but everything they have has been spent. And so I think it's important to give our best to God and to those next priorities too, because if we don't take care of our priorities, we'll be just swamped in Instagram reels or busyness or work or whatever we kind of lean into as the thing that takes over our lives. It might be drugs and alcohol. It might be hobbies. It might be any number of things.
Avoiding work.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are our thoughts today on tithing and giving our best to God. Hopefully this has helped you think about your life and your life in and with God and the path that you are on and with God.
Your best is.
Yeah, and what your best is and how you feel called to give it to God. hopefully some of it through the church. Why don't we close in prayer?
Okay.
God, you have already given us your best. You gave us everything we have, our life through creation. You also gave us your best in Jesus. As he came to the earth, took on sin, conquered evil and death, and made a way for us to be reconciled to you. And there's nothing bigger or better than that. So God, as we think about our lives, the proper way to order them, help us to look to you for answers, that our lives might help give life to others and be pleasing to you. We ask all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
For Elena Robinson, I'm Nick Robinson, and you are on the path.